Manus flat on the canvas. We are ready to rock and roll. Second round of action. There is a cut on Manus.
Jesus.
Martial arts. Yeah.
Like my man B-Hop, who got dropped out the ring last night. I need a little judo baby. I need me a little judo baby, and let's do it, Ron. Let's hit me up.
See you were filming this. You've got a face for radio.
That's got a face for radio.
That's nice.
Martial arts chat.
Martial arts chat.
Hello, welcome to Martial Arts Chat Podcast. Before I introduce today's guest, let me first just acknowledge the sponsors, A1 Fight Gear. A1 Fight Gear use the latest cutting-edge boxing gloves for professional and amateur fighters, gym enthusiasts and kickboxers, so local and national gyms in the UK. Do yourselves a favour, go check out a1fightgear.com. And if you're wanting to get into shape, get back into shape, go to beastgear.co.uk and use the coupon code MartialArtsChat. If you do that, you'll save 15% off your purchases. And they've got core sliders, straps and barbell pads, different strength and conditioning programs, all at different levels, guys. So beast your goals with beastgear.co.uk. And finally, we're also sponsored by MMAtakeover.com. For the real MMA rankings, go to MMAtakeover.com or visit them on Facebook or on Twitter. So to my guest here today, Wing Chung, coach, practitioner, online inspiration for many people around the world, returning to Martial Arts Chat Podcast by popular demand, Mr. Bogdan Rosu. Bogdan, how you doing, mate?
I'm doing well, man. Thank you for having me on once again.
It's a pleasure.
Excited.
Absolute pleasure. And it's been a few months, my friend. Obviously, in between, I had the pleasure of coming on your show as well.
Yeah, that was fun. You know, we actually talked about the McGregor and Khabib fight over on the interview for my podcast.
Yeah. You were putting me on the spot for predictions, was it? Is that right?
Yeah, no, well, we kind of guessed it, didn't we?
I guess. I mean, I can't claim to be like mystic or anything. If I did, I'd probably just selected it randomly.
I think people, before placing their bets, I think they should ask the two of us who's going to win.
No, that'd be the sensible choice, wouldn't it? Of course it would. Our track record is 100% so far, so yeah. Why not? Exactly. But what have you been up to, man? What's been happening between then and now? Tell us, man. Tell the listeners. What's been keeping you busy?
A lot of things. You know, I've been doing a lot of interviews for my podcast, you know, and it's so interesting. And I'm sure that you had this situation many, many times. I mean, you get so many people on the show, so many inspirational people, so many people who had, you know, more experience than you in business and martial arts. And you just grow so much. I mean, you just expand so much as a person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Have you been branching out into other martial arts? Is that what you mean by expansion, or is it expansion in the world of Wing Chun?
You know what? It's a great question. And it's actually having a much deeper understanding of my own of what I've learned and adding certain aspects to my training, and then taking away certain aspects that I feel didn't really, you know, weren't so helpful, to be honest. You know, when I interviewed, for example, DKU, I'm not sure if you know of DKU's work.
Tell me, clue me up.
Yeah, I'll send you like a video of this guy. He's like, people call him like the Bruce Lee of our ages, you know, or something like that. He's really, really good. I'm sure some of your viewers are aware of his videos. So when he came to Romania, we talked about Wing Chun, you know, what are the pros, what are the cons, and it was really, really nice to have somebody like DKU confirm some of my suspicions, you know. For example, you know, I know like your viewers were asking about what Wing Chun is, what it can do for you, and you know, what's the point of it, right, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I don't know if you're aware, but actually Tony Ferguson just used some Wing Chun in his last fight.
No way, I had no idea. Right, wow.
Yeah. There's a video online. Actually, Joe Rogan on his podcast mentioned it. He's like, "Holy shit, this thing worked."
It's amazing. I had no idea. So what am I looking out for next time for El Kakui?
So what he did, he grabbed like both his arms, right? And he just trapped his arms and then just elbowed the guy. I'm not sure who the last fight, who was...
Anthony Pettis was his last fight.
Exactly. Yeah. So he used it against Pettis.
Wow.
Tony Ferguson actually has a wooden dummy. he trains on a wooden dummy.
That I have seen. Yes, yeah, I've seen the breakdown videos with that. Yeah, so he's in. I love seeing a martial art that's not. So when I think of MMA and when I do these discussions, it's almost always wrestling, Muay Thai, jiu-jitsu. Yeah. Those are always like the ones that you hear. But I'm a Taekwondo guy. Like we mentioned last time I was on your show, I'm a Taekwondo from a very early age. So when I see someone throwing techniques that I'm familiar with, like, oh man, does that brighten up my day? And I guess you're the same when you see a bit of Wing Chun in the world of mixed martial arts, man. That must be amazing, man.
It's definitely a great feeling, and it's like, if you use Wing Chun, let's say traditionally, because what Wing Chun practitioners, like their biggest advantage is also the biggest disadvantage, in the sense of, we're very, very able to generate a lot of power from our hands. Like you've seen the 1-inch punch, yes. Somebody who felt a Wing Chun punch knows exactly what I'm talking about. However, that power comes with a price. You kind of get too stuck to the ground, right? You're too stable. You're not very mobile with your footwork, right?
Right.
So once you understand, and that's exactly what I was talking about with DKU in his interview, that once you understand that you need that kind of mobility, you need to be on the soles of your feet, right? And be fast with your footwork and connect to the ground, stick to the ground only like in a fraction of a second when you need to deliver power, and then get unstuck from the ground and start moving again. That's when your Wing Chun becomes very, very dynamic and very flexible. And some people would say, yeah, but then it's just Jeet Kune Do, right? JKD, like what Bruce Lee invented.
Sure.
Yes and no, because what most JKD practitioners and what they suffer from is having a higher center of gravity. What that means is speed, that translates into speed and motion. However, you're compromising power, you're compromising structure, right? So it's having both. You need also that flexibility, the speed of moving around, but also the structure of Wing Chun, right? Structure of Wing Chun feels a lot like for example, karate punch, right? Like these guys who are like stuck to the ground and then they punch you. It's like hitting a wall, right?
Yeah.
It's similar to that, right? Because they have their lower half of their body is very active and it's very stable. That's why they deliver so much power, right? Yeah. So you want the mobility of let's say Taekwondo without necessarily the so much jumping around, but that kind of force, that connection, strong connection to the ground allows you. So that's kind of how my Wing Chun has changed this year, for example. That's
You mentioned karate there and the punch, and a lot of the times I'll notice when I watch like a Wing Chun demonstration or whatever, the closed fist is in a vertical position. I'll see that in karate as well.
Is.
Yeah. So is that for power generation, or is it just to protect the fist, or what's the idea there?
It's different. Yeah, it's for power generation. But what a lot of people don't do is snap their wrist towards the end. And it's kind of difficult to explain this in an audio session, right? But what I can say is, like, when you use the lower part of your fist, like the smaller knuckles, and most people would say, yeah, but those break easily.
Yeah.
100% they break easily. That's why we train on the wall back, right? So it's like this cushion filled with rice or beans or whatever, or steel or rocks. You punch and you condition that area of your fist. When you do that, those knuckles, when you're holding a vertical fist, right, and you're punching forward with those knuckles, not with the whole fist forward, right, but specifically with those lower knuckles, you're activating your triceps, right? Your triceps is bigger than your biceps,
right?
So it's also connected. It's better connected with your hip, so you're generating a lot more power than you would. That's why you see the inch punch being so strong, right?
Yeah.
But what you're compromising is reach, right? So you're not going to have the same reach as with the traditional with the normal boxing punch, if that makes sense.
Yeah, rolling your shoulder into it would give you more
Exactly.
range. Yeah.
Exactly, right? So the question is, what do you want in that specific moment? Do you want maximum power? Do you want reach? Do you want speed? Right? What do you need? So it's kind of useful to have more tools in your belt.
Yeah.
This kind of power is useful because, like, in situations where people wouldn't normally expect you to generate power. For example, I was doing this full contact match with another kung fu teacher, right? And my hand was very close to his chest, and just when he got ready to punch me with like a cross, right? I punched his chest, like I inch punched his chest, and he fell, right? So people don't expect you to generate so much power from short distances, right? And it can be useful in those situations, right? Yeah.
Close range, yeah, for sure. I love watching your videos, man. I love you've always got a smile on your face. You're always dancing, like you're brightening up people's day, and it comes across, man. Like we spoke last time about how much an influence martial arts is in a positive sense, not just physically, but like how you feel emotionally. But I was watching a clip of your podcast, and we were talking a wee bit about it yesterday. One with your co-host Michael. You had a guy on. He was a Navy SEAL. The waterboarding story.
Thank you. First of all, thank you so much for for taking a look at. You're probably referring to the live videos that I do on Facebook, right?
Yes, your live videos. Yeah, I just see your smiling face, man. It brightens up my day. I love it. But yeah, specifically that clip I watched, man. Can you clue our listeners up on that? I mean, I was really I was sweating watching this. This guy was going into detail, describing the waterboarding technique, how he survived it. But please, man, if you can share that story with us.
Sure, definitely. So, what we're doing in January, we're launching a new podcast with my partner and co-host Mark Phillips. He's also the creator of the Fight Science YouTube channel. I'm sure a lot of your videos are familiar with his videos because he talks about realistic self-defense. How to defend yourself in situations. Right? His mission is basically just making sure that people survive an attack on the street, right? He's a very cool guy. And we're launching this podcast together. It's called Martial Mindset, where we're interviewing, martial artists, people who are complete masters in their fields of work, and in psychology. And in this case, we had Michael Jaco on our show. He's an ex-Navy SEAL who teaches, get this, he teaches intuition.
Intuition, right? Okay.
That's an interesting combination, right?
Yeah, for sure.
He's got 2 books out, and in one of them he speaks of this idea that you access the warrior state, the warrior mindset by tuning into your intuition, into your feeling, right? And Wing Chun is actually very, very powerful in activating that aspect of feeling your body, feeling, feeling people. You become very, very emotionally intelligent, right? So what Michael was describing was how he broke the waterboard. He was in a training scenario. And people got, his colleagues, they were getting, they were teaching them what it's like to be in a situation where you're actually tortured when you're waterboarded. And he was sharing the fact that he would hear grown men scream, terrified, scream for their lives, basically.
Okay.
And he went into that situation thinking, you know what, I'm just going to see what happens. I'm going to be relaxed, just see how it goes, and just be present, be in the moment. And I'm not going to spoil exactly how he broke the waterboard, but he just the best is to hear Michael's story of breaking the waterboard, right? But what I can share is the fact that he found a very quick solution, right? When people were not aware, he was blowing water out of his nose and mouth and just taking quickly a breath of air while they were getting more water. And this is something that he learned through martial arts, actually.
Incredible, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, to take that and apply it, and yeah, it's almost innovative, isn't it? Like, I broke the thing that, I mean, let's be honest, it's a torture method, so it's not meant to be broken, you know.
Well, it's broken now.
It's broken now for sure. That's it, absolutely. Yeah, man, go check that out. Anyone listening, man, that I was like, oh, I don't even know how to describe it. Just watching it, I could feel myself almost like taking panic breaths. But I mean, fascinating stuff, man. And exciting times ahead for your show then, interviews. To date though, what's been some of your favourites? What guests have you enjoyed, and who have you enjoyed interviewing the most, would you say?
In my podcast?
Yes, sir.
Or and it's very difficult to say, right? Because I'm like, on my show, I have a lot of, I kind of designed the show to be very, very close to my heart, right? So I have a lot of people who are extremely successful in business, personal development coaches, mindset coaches, and of course, martial arts masters. It's very, very difficult to pick somebody who like to pick a favorite. It's like right now, actually, what comes to mind is the interview that I did with Sharan Srivatsa, for example. Mm-hmm. Sharan is, he took a real estate company that was worth $30 million, and in 5 years, he grew it to $3 billion, right? Mm-hmm. And, I'm aware of the fact that a lot of people listening, that's so outside of my reality, like miles away. But
sure.
What I loved about Sharan was his awesome energy and his openness, his attitude, right? And he said, you know what, 10 years ago, I was very different. I was very bullheaded. I thought the world owed me something. And I just realized that, and actually his health suffered a lot from that, right?
Wow.
And and he realized that, you know what, I'm going to make kindness my language. Mm-hmm. So he made it a rule that every email that's going out, every message that's going out will receive a kind reply, right? And I love that so much, right?
Yeah.
It's so powerful, so awesome. Yeah.
Those little things go a long way, man. Absolutely, for sure. People do New Year's resolutions, like everyone does that, and they usually last about a week or something, right? I'm not going to have any cake or whatever it is, right? It's usually something that you're trying to cut out something, aren't you? And mine's was that, I'm going to make a point of saying please and thank you, which sounds silly. I mean, sure, I've got manners, and sure, I'll say please and thank you, but maybe I don't say it enough, or maybe I don't recognize or acknowledge enough when someone's doing. There could be the littlest things, holding a door. And Girl works for me, our admin girl. Anytime I'll ask her to do something, I'll stop and I'll overemphasize. Oh, and please, could you do that? And it'd be the joke in the office, but it would make her feel great. It would make me feel great, and everybody's buzzing about doing mundane tasks, and those little things, man. That's good to hear as well.
It makes a huge difference. Totally makes a huge difference. It's the key in your mindset, and they're like everyone wants something new for New Year, right? But why wait until then? Why make a resolution just on your New Year's, right?
It's silly, isn't it? But I guess it's I don't know, human mindset. It's a
why most New Year's resolutions don't come true?
Go on.
So to make it happen, you actually need a few more elements, right? Because let's take, like, I use this with my clients who are entrepreneurs, right? Before, like, when I get on a first call with them, I talk about it. It's like, look, if you're going to do something, let's say that you want to learn Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, for example, right? Mm-hmm. Are you going to go on YouTube and just watch all the videos possible? Like, watch one video from one guy and then watch another video from one guy, and maybe buy a few DVDs and sit at home and wish that one day you're going to start you're going to start the course, and then you're going to wish that one day you're going to finish the video course? No. You're going to look for a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu school, right?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
What are we talking about? So we all know that you need what? You need a sensei, aka a mentor, somebody who will track your progress, will help you, and will give you feedback when you're not committing, when you're not being 100%, right? Who will show you the way. And you need a group of people. you're a group of people who are all moving in the same direction, right?
Yes, absolutely, 100%.
So, like, if your New Year's resolution is, okay, I'm going to double my income, for example, guess what? You need to go into an environment where everybody's doubling or tripling their income. And you need what? A mentor, right? And what else do you have in a martial arts school? You have a belt system. You can track your progress. You know when you're making progress, right?
Yep.
So without all of those things, it's just like, oh yeah, but I wrote my goals down. So what?
Yeah, that's just the beginning. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I want to be a black belt in 10 years. So okay, well, what are you doing? Well, you see, I'm studying at home, right? I'm doing my best. Well, yeah, but that's not really going to work.
Yeah, you can't exist in those parameters if you want to progress. Absolutely not, mate. You're right. We spoke earlier about the dummy in Kung Fu. I was just curious, mate. Is that something that's been around in the martial arts since day dot? Is the wooden dummy like when I think of Wing Chun right away I think of the wooden dummy, or is it something is it more recent?
So first there was the wheel. Then we invented the wooden dummy.
Right, okay. Versus the wheel, that's it, mate. Exactly. I need to check this Tony Ferguson video though, man. I'm so excited to watch this backwards and do some Wing Chun, man. Another thing I was just thinking, we were talking about videos, when I spoke to you yesterday, when I came across, you mentioned it to me, it was like a first in Romania, a China cultural exchange festival, was it?
Yeah.
Tell us a wee bit about that, mate. What's that all about?
It's fun. Yeah, but let's go back to the dummy. I'm not sure.
All right, go on.
What was first? If the dummy was first or Wing Chun was first, And I actually posted a video on Facebook today. A conversation with one of my students. She was asking, why do we train the dummy? It feels so different compared to everything else that we're doing, right? Uh-huh. And the dummy is actually there to correct your positions. It's going to give you instant feedback when you are using correct power. And again, it's a bit difficult to describe in an audio conversation or even like in a video, but it's there to give you feedback. When you're not using the right angles, you're going to feel it in your shoulders. You're going to feel it in your body.
Right.
When you're not using power from the ground and you're not being smooth and relaxed, you're going to see it in the way that the dummy moves, right? Because you know what you're looking for when you're watching the dummy move. It's basically a tool for you to understand your body. And when you understand your body, you understand who you are. Mm-hmm. When you understand who you are, you can step into your mastery a lot more easily, right?
Absolutely.
And referring to the culture exchange that you asked, I actually witnessed a Tai Chi master doing a demonstration. So there was this delegation from China that came over to Romania in a cultural exchange. Mm-hmm. And there was this Qigong demonstration, right? There were like 8 or 9 Qigong practitioners. And in the center, there was this short master dressed in the blue, Chinese Kung Fu outfit, right? Uh-huh. Everybody else was dressed in white.
Okay.
But what was different about the master wasn't his outfit. It was like, you could see everybody, they were all doing the moves correctly. Mm-hmm. However, when this guy was moving, it was as if he was moving the space around him. You just got this weird feeling that... Have you seen like the Last Airbender?
No.
It's like, like those cartoons where people can like move air and move water.
Oh, right, okay, yes.
Yeah. It wasn't exactly like that, just so metaphysical, right? But you felt something. You felt it in the room, like he was moving energy around, right? And I turned around and I asked one of my students, I said, did you feel it? And they were like, yeah, right? And that's what happens when you see somebody who is 100% in their mastery, who is doing what they're meant to be doing. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you ever witnessed like a speaker, a professional speaker, or like a taekwondo master entering a room, right? You remember those, like when you first saw like a real Taekwondo master enter a room.
Absolutely.
What was the feeling? What did you feel?
Everybody, all the eyes were on him. The commanding of the room that they're in, for sure. Yeah.
Yes. So that's extremely powerful, right? And that's not limited to Kung Fu masters. It's not limited to speakers, to these people that we look up to, right? Everybody has this ability, right? And this is what I teach entrepreneurs and people who want to become better coaches, because you don't just do that by writing down your goals. You do it by accessing all of the resources in your body, by feeling your body from top to bottom. And you know, when somebody like that enters the room, they're not just occupying their space, they're filling up the room with their presence from top to bottom, right?
Yeah.
Did you have that feeling? Like, I'm sure that it was in a large room when you first saw that master, right?
Probably a gym hall or something, I would imagine, yeah. Whatever it would set up as a dojo. But yeah, it's like, not only that, yeah, there is a presence, as you call it, an energy in the room, but you can feed off that energy for sure. Like, it rubs off on the students.
Exactly. So it's like, it's not like because they're filling up the room that they're making everybody else smaller. It's actually boosting everybody's energy.
Definitely.
Right?
Yeah.
So when you learn to allow yourself to fill up the room with your energy, with your presence, of course you're going to have everybody in the room, you know, they're going to turn and they're going to look at you. Like, all eyeballs are going to be on you, whether you're a woman or a man or, you know, like whatever. Even if you're a kid and you step into that mastery, right? It doesn't matter. But it's just about understanding that aspect and allowing yourself to step into it, and you're lighting people up. You are lighting their energy and their presence up. You're making the world a better place just by you having that courage of saying, look, I'm going to be full in this moment. I'm going to be 100% who I am.
Yeah.
Now,
it's like that person's at the top of Everest or whatever, and they're bringing you up to that level. You know what I mean? To let you know what the air's like up there and that kind of thing. Yeah, 100%.
Absolutely. 100%. Yeah. And it's, you know, like, leaders do that. Leaders need to do that. That's why, like, everybody says, you know, there's a crisis of leadership. Of course, not everybody knows that they can do it. And once you learn that you can do it, it's like having the guts to step into it and feel comfortable there, right? Because it's like, it's your responsibility. If you lead a team of 5, 50, 100, 1,000 people, doesn't matter. They depend on you to step into that mastery.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not a choice, right? Absolutely. Yeah. And even like yourself, you're a father, right? I'm sure you feel like a certain responsibility to be the best version of yourself.
Yeah.
For your family, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, of course. There's a lot of role play, though, I guess, with as I'm learning with parenthood. I mean, I'm a school teacher as well, so like it's often easy to be maybe not commanding, but be the stern. You know, here's the rules and do as you're told, that kind of thing as well. But the loving side of it and the nurturing side is just. I'd never really experienced that until I became a father. So for whatever reason, I think. It may be controversial in saying this, but like, I think women find that more easily. Like, women seem to be more naturally maternal, whereas
I think so too.
It is. It really is. I think so too. I think it's that maternal instinct that mothers have that maybe takes the father a little bit longer, or in some sad cases not at all. You know.
Definitely. Yeah. I feel like a lot of people are pushing for equality, you know. I agree, you know, we definitely, there should never be discrimination, you know, between men and women or transgender or, you know what, this is like person counts, right? But as long as you feel great in your femininity, right, in your feminine energy, and there's a distinction between masculine energy and feminine energy, right? Both men and women have both masculine and feminine, right? So if you feel more comfortable in your feminine energy, being more maternal, being more emotional, being more sensitive, that's great. That's awesome. If you feel more comfortable in your masculine energy, man or woman, doesn't matter. That's awesome. As long as you celebrate who you are, you know who you are and you feel comfortable, right? And you're not holding back from the world, right? Let's say that you're a woman who loves being masculine, just you're driving, you're leading, you're right, because that's generally considered masculine energy, right? That's awesome. Do that, right? That's what you're meant to do. That's your thing. That's who you are, right? Why hold back? Why? Because your mom said that you look good in a dress?
Yeah.
Or like, of course you're gonna look good in a dress, right? But what I mean, why suppress what you feel comfortable being, who you feel comfortable being, right?
Yeah.
And most people do that.
Absolutely, mate. Bogdan, we've got some questions from our listeners. Are you okay to hang around and answer what the guys at Martial Arts podcast had to say, mate? Of course. Some from Twitter and some from Facebook. We'll start with the Twitter ones.
That's awesome. Yeah, awesome. Great. Let's do it.
A good friend of the show, Else for Elf, she's asking, I often see Wing Chun demonstrations where one person is blindfolded. What is the purpose of this?
Great. That's a great question. Well, the number one reason why people do it in demonstrations is because it looks cool, right?
Fair play.
There was this demonstration that I was invited over. We did this blindfold cheese out. Cheese out is the exercise that you see, like where people are rolling hands. And funny enough, it was just right after somebody said that he was teaching martial arts to people who were blind, right? And that was incredible. That was really, really inspiring. And it was funny because right after he talked about the way he was teaching, we stepped in and did the blindfolded exercise. And when you do that, when you show a demonstration where you're blindfolded, somebody's trying to hit you, it's like everybody's like, what? It's very novel, right? So what we usually do when we do cheese out, we close our eyes. The reason why is because we want to listen with our hands.
Right.
Right. So when you're close to your opponent, you get a feeling of when that person wants to hit you and how. Right. Mm-hmm. Your hands are very, very receptive. Right. So we kind of use that. We allow ourselves to feel very, very subtle signals from the hands when the other person is trying to hit you and trying to attack, right? Mm-hmm. So that works in close range, and in long distance you need to be aware, you need to be visually aware, right? Mm-hmm. In short distance you can add that tactile awareness to your visual awareness, which will give you faster responses, actually. Mm-hmm.
I see. I've got a curious one from a young man named Daniel Reed who got in touch on Facebook yesterday. Is asking what advice you could give Bogdan. He says, I'm a 17-year-old male. I just started Wing Chun 2 months ago. They do not train me that hard at school or push me to my limits. We also do not spar. We just do, now you'll need to help me out here, Lat Sao and Lap Sao, S-A-O. I asked my instructor why, and he says it's too dangerous. Some people have told me to leave the school because there's no sparring, but I like my Sifu and his training is good, but I do not know if it would be really effective in a street fight or if it would help me beat a great fighter.
Yeah. Well, as somebody who trained Wing Chun in a school where we rarely sparred, I can honestly say, having seen both, learning Wing Chun without sparring and with sparring, that you need it. You need it. So if you're not getting sparring in your school, I would definitely consider finding another school and maybe a different martial art, because, in my experience, it's more dangerous to think that, you can defend yourself.
Yeah.
Than knowing that you cannot defend yourself, right? So, because if you know that you cannot fight, then you're not going to put yourself in weird situations, right? But if you're like you kind of think but you don't really know, you're gonna put yourself in some stupid and dangerous situations, right? So, like most of the sparring that I did by myself when I opened my martial arts school. I would spar with my with my students a lot, right? And when I would visit my previous kung fu teacher, nobody in his school could spar. Nobody in his school could fight. And the reason was the same. Like, and this may be controversial for most people, right? But the reason why, because I would ask him, what's happening? Why
we're not doing this?
Yeah. And his rationalization was the same. Oh, it's too dangerous. If people fight, then they're gonna go home disappointed that somebody else beat them up, or like in the school that they didn't win and some stuff like that. And to me, it was like, what? It didn't make a lot of sense. But similar to what's his name again?
Let's see. I think it was Daniel Reed is this boy's name.
Daniel, yeah. Similar to Daniel, I really, really looked up to my kung fu teacher, and it's when you go into that space, it's very difficult to think for yourself.
Yeah. And you're a young guy, Daniel, only 17. I mean,
yeah. I would do boxing. I would do kickboxing if he has access to that, just to get this experience of getting punched in the face, because it's not the worst thing in the world.
You're right. Yeah, exactly.
No,
you need to experience it.
Absolutely. And then you can complement that kind of training with your Wing Chun, right? Get some extra tools that you can use after you had that experience. Look, the best Wing Chun fighter in Hong Kong, a decade ago, right? Who was also, when Bruce Lee learned Wing Chun in Hong Kong,
right?
He was learning from Yip Man, right? But his senior student was Wong Sun Leung. This guy was a boxer before he started training Wing Chun, right? So he had that experience of brawling. He wasn't afraid to fight.
Yeah.
And when he started training Wing Chun, right, he loved Wing Chun so much because he sparred with Yip Man, and Yip Man just controlled him like he couldn't do anything, right? So that's when he decided that, okay, I'm going to learn Wing Chun, right? And they were organizing these empty fists, what is it called? Those street fights.
I don't know. Street fights, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, like street fights, the bare knuckle fights, right?
Yes,
bare knuckle fights in Hong Kong, right? And he was like the champion, right?
Right.
Nobody beat him.
Yeah, tough guy then, right?
Yeah, but he did boxing before, so he had this experience of if I'm gonna get punched in the face, that's no problem. It's natural. I'm gonna get punched in the face. I'm gonna punch that guy. The question is, who's gonna be standing afterwards, right? Yeah. I would definitely consider doing some full contact and adding, if you want to continue with your Wing Chun studies, that's great, that's excellent. But do add sparring to your training. It's very important.
There you go, mate. I hope that helps, Daniel. Another one from Facebook, Marcin Heldi. How long on average does it take for Wing Chun to become second nature?
Okay, that's a good question. And it kind of depends, because I had people who came to my school for a week, right? So they had 2 sessions, and then they had situations where they had situations, one person got into a fight with somebody over a drink, and he just used this Wing Chun techniques and punched the guy, and it was over immediately. And I had students use techniques 3 months into their training, people who use them a lot later. So it's it's something that sinks into your subconscious. When you don't think, it just comes out immediately, right? So it really, really depends on the person. What the question probably is, how long until I can do it consciously. Right? And until I can use it consciously in sparring and actually have it look like Wing Chun. Because unconsciously, it's going to be there, right? Somebody scares you, you're going to punch them. Or you're going to raise your hands up in something that you learned, right? Or you're going to do something. Your body's going to do something. It has that response inside its subconscious, right? Until you actually make it functional, it really depends on you, and it depends on the type of training that you do, right? What I can say is that the less you think about it when you're sparring, the more you allow yourself to be present, what we were talking about earlier, be in the moment and be full, and not think of, okay, what do I do now? How do I do it? And just be loose it's going to come to you faster.
Yeah, flowing, I guess, is
Yes.
from doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Like, there's a time it comes in. It could be any martial art, I suppose, but when it becomes flowy, yeah, that's when it becomes second nature for sure.
Exactly. I'm sure you've experienced it, right?
Absolutely, yeah. And probably pretty recently, if I'm honest, I've been doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu now for about 4 years, and maybe only in the last year. I've got to be honest, man. The last year, it's been a lot of things, a lot of techniques, a lot of times when I'm sparring, I'm doing it without even thinking about it. I don't mean like I'm not interested and I'm just looking about, but sometimes, it does just feel that way. I know what's coming, and my body moves without me even thinking about it. So yeah, it's a good place to be as well, man. Yeah, it's nice, isn't it? Absolutely. Laura Bellington is asking, how does the grading system work in Wing Chun?
It depends. Different schools have different grading systems, so it doesn't really matter. It's just like people take this belt stuff too seriously.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
You'll know yourself when you're good, and you know yourself when you're not. I mean, sure, there is a grading system and a structure in place, like we're talking about, but at the end of the day, guys, it's like coloured belts and whatever else. They're just an offshoot of what you do. Stick to the martial arts and concentrate on that. Don't concentrate on, I need to be a blue belt or whatever the next step is. If you focus on that, you'll lose your main focus, which is, in my opinion, enjoying the martial art.
Yes, definitely, yeah. I agree.
One more from Facebook. Last one is from Michael Wheaton, who says, at age 55, am I too old to start Wing Chun?
No. No, definitely not. It's something different. It's like if if in other martial arts you need to do a lot of push-ups and a lot of physical activity. I'm not saying that at 55 you cannot. You should definitely include some push-ups and some squats in your training. But Wing Chun actually, the older you get, the better your Wing Chun gets, right? Because you cannot depend on your physical strength. When you're doing Wing Chun and you're older, you really, really need to understand your body. And I feel like at 55, you have a lot more patience. You're not in such a hurry. Like, oh my God, let me get like we were talking about earlier, let me get the next belt. You're like, hey, yeah, this is cool, right? Yeah, I'm learning stuff. That's cool. So I learned how to punch somebody. Oh wow, my punch is stronger now. You're kind of, you're celebrating your journey a lot more. So yeah, 55 is actually a great time to start.
I've just had a visitor at the door, a young man by the name
awesome.
of Toby McElroy. Do you want to say hello to Bogdan, Toby? No,
hey Toby.
He's pretending he's shy now. This is a first for me. You should come on the show more often, Bogdan. I've never seen this boy so quiet in my life.
Oh wow. Toby, very nice to meet you. That's awesome.
No, we're just getting a smile. You're as young as you feel. That Michael message in that question. Practicing martial arts with a healthy body, healthy mind. Yeah, in my opinion, you're never too old to start anything. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, there's a guy called De La Riva, didn't start until his 30s, and like you said, Bogdan, getting better as he's got older.
More patient.
Exactly.
Yeah, if we jump into the business side of things, like the guy who, the founder of KFC, he founded the company when he was 50-something, right?
He's
never
well,
too
right?
late.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly, my friend. Yeah, a pleasure to have you back on the show, sir. Before I let you go, please let our listeners know where to check you out online, how to get involved, and all the good work that you do, sir.
That's a great question. Oh, and let me just acknowledge your listeners. We had some really, really awesome questions. I loved answering them, and I loved hearing such awesome curiosity from them. Yeah, so congrats, guys. They can definitely check out the podcast, the Personal Development Through Martial Arts podcast. And they can check out my website, bogdanrosu.biz, B-I-Z. And if they want to tune into the full interview with Michael Jaco, they can check out the teaser or Fight Science TV, or actually just Fight Science. That's my partner's YouTube channel, and we'll be launching the podcast in January. So that's gonna be fun. Looking forward to that as well.
Awesome stuff. Bogdan, again, a massive thank you for your time. We'll catch up again soon, and I can't wait to check out that video as well. I'm looking forward to catching that in full. sweating already thinking about it. But thank you again for your time, sir. Absolute pleasure, and anytime you want to come back on.
Thank you so much for having me on. It's a great show.